Hello everybody, welcome to First Code Academy, and today we're gonna do a tutorial on Thunkable called Gingerbread Cookie Clicker. So in this project, I will be using Thunkable to create an app that will allow me to play a Christmas version of the game Cookie Clicker. In the game Cookie Clicker, the objective is to bake as many cookies as you can by tapping the little cookie man. So I'm tapping here and I'm getting every one cookie every time I tap it. You'll see that there's two extra buttons. The upgrade button, which allows me to purchase an upgrade to get more cookies per click. And the save button, which allows me to save my progress. So if I close the app and I open it again, I'll retrieve the same values. You can find the link to the Thunkable page in the description down below. Now let's go into coding it. So today we're gonna divide the process of making the app into two steps. The first step, we're going to design how the app looks. And in the second step, we're going to build the blocks for the app to work. So let's go straight into the first step. We open a new Thunkable project. I already named it Cookie Clicker. I'm going to do is make it resemble what I just showed you before. So the first thing is we want it to be Christmas themed. So I'm going to change the colors to some red and some green. So I'm going to use red for the background. And I'm going to use green for the letters and the buttons. Now, the most important part, well, besides the Christmas message, I'm going to put a label over here. I'm also going to need an image to put the cookie inside. So I scroll down here all the way to image, and I can add it down here. You'll see that in this case, the image shows above the label. You can actually change the order here by dragging them, and whichever is at the bottom is the one that's going to show at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to proceed by adding another label down here, which is the one that is going to tell me how many cookies I have. Well, the same, I want it down here, so I'm going to put it here. And two buttons, one next to the other. Now, if I try to put the buttons just like this, button 1 and button 2, for example, and I'm going to drag it down. For example, well, I have a button here, have a label that I don't need, so I'm just going to delete this one. But yes, I want to delete that one. And I want another button here. You see that the buttons are one on top of the other, and there's not really a simple way to just tell Thunkable, hey, I want you to be one next to the other one, because they try to keep things simple and just put objects in a straight line down there. But to fix this, in layout, they have something called rows and columns, just like a table. So if you put objects in a row, it will put them one next to the other horizontally. If you put objects in a column, it'll group them vertically. So I want just to group them horizontally. I'll just add a row over here. I'm gonna put it down here. And to make them belong to the row, I can just drag them in a way that is inside. You'll see that there's a red little border next to where it says row here. That means that I'm putting the button inside the row. I'm gonna do the same, I'm gonna put it below here. So you put it one next to the other. Now you see that my row is way too big. It occupies almost all of the screen. I'm gonna change the height here and put an absolute size of 150. Of course, you can change that depending on what you want. You can put 100 and you will adjust it differently. Now for the labels, well, I'm gonna change the texts, of course, here, Merry Christmas. And here, remember we said the message, you have baked 0 cookies. Because of course you haven't played yet. So there's no cookies baked. For the image down here, I looked for a gingerbread man image, PNG. Download the one you like the most. I use PNG because they have no background. So when I put it down here, let's see, I already have it in my computer. So when I put the cookie here, see, what usually would look white it still looks red because I have no background. So it just copies the same color as my background. Now for the Merry Christmas message, I can go to advanced and change the text style. I can change here the color. I'm gonna put it dark green. And I'm gonna make sure to remember this color, maybe here. Just gonna copy this code and use that code to change the color of this one as well. So I can put here and paste that color in the hex file. The same as with the button, I can go back to simple. I think this one is easier here. Oh, wait, sorry. Not the text color, the background color. I can put here and this one as well. And I want, let's say, a different style for the Merry Christmas message. I want to make it more good looking. I can put in the font family here in advanced. I can choose different fonts. Which fonts can I choose? Well, you can go to the documentation for Thunkable and you'll see a list of all the fonts available. Unfortunately, for Android, there's not many fonts. For iOS, there's a huge list of fonts. And since I'm testing my app in iOS, I thought that I could use this font over here, the last one, Sapfino. I like how it looks. It gives like a very holiday vibe. And I can make it bigger with font size. And I'm gonna put it bold. I can even put something more bold, like 300 or maybe 500. Okay. And yeah, that's it. I'm gonna put this one as well, bold. I can just do it in simple. Here, font weight, bold. All right. Oh, of course, I still need to change the text of my buttons. So here I'll put upgrade. And then the cost of my first upgrade, 25. And in here, I'm gonna make a button to save the game. So if I close the app and I open it again, well, I can keep making the cookies I already had before. And that's pretty much it for the design. So right now we're gonna move into the blocks. So right now, I already set up some initial values to work with the blocks. And to add these values, right, I grab the blocks from the variables blocks, okay? I initialize 3 variables of type app. These variables, when I close the program, they will disappear forever. And they will, when I open the app again, they will set up to these initial values I have over here. Cookies, well, is how many cookies I have. I think I would better just set it up to 0. Cookies per click, sorry, I think I put it backwards. Cookies per click is how many cookies I get per each click, per each tap of the button I do into the cookie. And the upgrade cost is how much is it gonna cost for me to get more cookies per click I do. I also have the same variables, but of the stored type. So stored to, for me to recognize that they're different, I put them stored under dash cookies, stored under dash CPZ, and stored under dash upgrade cost. So stored variables are the variables that are saved in the memory of the cell phone. So when you close the app and you open it again, you can find these values. All right. The reason I did 2 of them is because usually for a phone, it's slower to get the values from the stored space than it is from the app space. However, you can change these values accordingly if you don't really like one or the other, or if you think you made an upgrade that you didn't want, like if the game gets too complicated and somebody wants to save or not save, it's good for us to learn that there's different types of variables that can be used for different situations. So for example, the app variable can be used if you want the value to be used rapidly and disappear maybe sometime. Whereas the stored variable is a variable that you might want to use repeatedly later, okay? So the first thing and the most basic thing we will need to do in this app is when I click the image of the gingerbread man, I'm gonna get a new cookie. So let's go here into image and grab this block when image one click. So whenever I click the gingerbread man, I will get a new cookie. And how do I get, well, if I have CPC value of 1, means how many cookies I get per click to 1, I'll get one more cookie. But if I bought an upgrade, and now I get 2 cookies every time I click, I should still get the 2 cookies, not just 1 every time I click this button. To do that, well, we're gonna change the value of this variable of the cookies I have by how many cookies I get every time I click the image. So in variables, we have the initialize variable, which means the initial value of the variable, which I already put down there. Set the value to something specific or change it by a certain number. I'm gonna grab this one and put it down here. So I'm gonna change the app variable cookies by how much, well, is this block over here, CPC. So I can go to variables and grab this app variable CPC block and put it down here. Now that I have a new cookie, I want to update the label. Remember the label down here that says you have baked 0 cookies. This one, in this case, is label 2. So I can go back here in blocks, click on label 2. From label 2, set text 2. Now the text will read, you have number baked cookies baked so far. Okay, so you have, or you have baked number cookies. The message is, of course, up to you. You can make it a little bit different. That's still fine. What we're going to do is we're going to join 3 messages, right? You have baked the number and cookies. So I'm going to use this block join in the text category. If I click on the gear, I can join more than 2 texts. So I'm going to make it so I join 3. So remember, the first one is going to be you have baked. The second one, I'm going to leave it empty for the number. And the third one, I'm going to put cookies. Now in the middle one, how many cookies have I baked? That one is the variable I get from here, cookies. So you have baked, app variable cookies, cookies. And that's how we display the value. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to set the upgrade button. This button over here, when I click it, will allow me to, if I have enough cookies, get more cookies for every click I make. So let's start. This one is button 1. So when I click button 1, something else is bound to happen. What needs to happen? Well, first I need to ask, do I have enough cookies to get the better cooking machine so I can get 2 cookies every time I click it? Or are my cookies not enough? To ask questions like this in programming, remember, we use if statements. We're going to grab this if statement over here. And in that if statement, in this section, is where the question will be, do I have enough cookies or I don't have enough cookies? So the answer for this one is, for example, if my cost is 25, for me to have enough cookies would be if I have 25 cookies, 26 cookies, 27 cookies, or more. So if I have more cookies than what the upgrade costs, I can make the upgrade. To do this, you'll notice that Thunkable has this greater than, less than, equal than, but it doesn't have any greater equal unless you click on it. So you have to grab any of those and search for it directly. You don't just get it from here, okay? So we're gonna have if a value is greater or equal than another value. If my cookies I have are bigger than what the cost of the upgrade is, then I will do the upgrade. Here I have how many cookies I have, and if that value is bigger than a variable upgrade cost, how much an upgrade costs, then, okay, first of all, if I have 30 cookies and the upgrade is 25, if I purchase the upgrade, I should have only 5 cookies after the purchase is done. So I will first set this new variable, cookies, and take away from the number of cookies the cost of the upgrade. So to do any type of these operations, we go to math here and we're subtracting, right? We're subtracting the number of cookies we have and taking away from that the cost of the upgrade. If you see that because we have this check in place, the cookies will never go negative. You will always have enough cookies if you want to do this operation. After that, well, we have an upgrade, right? So what are we upgrading? Well, sorry, not this one. We're upgrading the value of the cookies per click. So we're changing the value of the cookies per click on the app by 1. So if I did 2 cookies per click, now I'll do 3 cookies per click, and so on. Now, the upgrades will make it so that they become more expensive the more of them I buy. So I'm gonna change the variable of this upgrade cost by, if I do change by some number, then in a way I'm basing it off a certain like solid number. What I can do is, if I want to make it harder and harder to get more upgrades so that people get more interested in playing more and more, I can change it by my own number. So if I cost 25, I'm the upgrade, I cost 25. For the next upgrade, I'm gonna cost 50. So I add 25 to myself, 25 plus 25, 50. For the next upgrade cycle, I cost 50, then I myself 50, now it costs 100. And then I keep going like this until it gets very expensive and people are more invested into playing. So this is just one example. Of course, you can do it in a different way. But I think in this way, you will get double the upgrade cost. So it's becoming harder and harder, more of a challenge to get the number higher and higher. The last thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna change the text of the button, right? And change the text of the label. So first, that label over here, remember it's label 2. It's the same value we have here. So I can just duplicate this block, right click, duplicate, and put it down here. So I do the same thing where I show the message of how many cookies I have left. And I will change the text of the bottom one to, remember the text of this one is upgrade and how many cookies it costs to do the upgrade. So I'll keep it that way. I have 2 values, upgrade and how much it costs. So I'll use a join block. I'll put it down here. I'll replace this hello with upgrade. And the second one, I'll just throw it here because I need the cost of the cookies. Upgrade, so the cost. Perfect, so this one will resolve the upgrade button. Now we have one more button left to code. The button we have left is to store the variable, right? To store these variables, these app variables into the stored part of the program so that when we open the program again, we can access those values. So when I click that button, which is button number 2, I'm gonna save these variables, these local app variables into the stored variables. So we'll set the value of the stored variable, for example, stored cookies, to the variable cookies. I can duplicate this so I can save more work and change stored variable cookies. Stored CPC will get the value of CPC, and stored upgrade cost will get the value of app upgrade cost. This way, I saved it into the storage of the cell phone, and I can access it later. So to finish the program, of course, we want to access it. So if I close the app and I open it again, I want to read those values again. I'll go over here to screen 1, and when the screen opens, or when the screen starts, let's do when the screen starts, if the values of the stored variables are not 0, right? Or are not empty, if I have something inside of them, then I want to actually use those values. Because what will happen if those values are not are not the initial ones, then there's a problem, you know. If you have 0 cookies per click and you start clicking on the cookie, you'll just see 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, like if you're not doing anything. You need to make sure that when you load those values, there's actually a value that makes sense there. To do that, well, the value we care the most about will be how many cookies you get per click. So if, and we'll do a comparison, if the cookies I do per click is bigger than 0, so if store variable cookies per click is bigger than 0, or bigger than 0, bigger than 1, basically it's up to you. I think bigger than 0 makes it so that there's at least something. Maybe they did like 3 cookies and they want to save. So, so it doesn't make much sense that you punish them for not cooking enough, baking enough cookies, or maybe they upgraded all the way to the level 10, then they did the last purchase and now they have 0 cookies. If you try to compare it with the cookies, then they will lose all their progress. So I think CPC is a better measurement, because when you first create these stored variables, they have no value. So if at least if their value is bigger than 0, you know they have played and saved once. So if that value is okay, then we'll do the reverse of this operation. So instead of getting from the app variable to the stored variable, we'll get the value from the stored variable and save it into the app variable. So I can just duplicate this. I'll just put this down here. I don't need this button 2 anymore. And change the order. So app variable cookies will get the value from stored cookies. App variable CPC will get the value from stored CPC. And app variable upgrade cost will get the value from stored upgrade cost. And that's pretty much it for this app. Okay, so I have the project open up down here, and this is the finished product. So you see I can get more cookies. Here are the cookies, and I'm getting 1 per click. I'm gonna upgrade, and now I get 2 per click. Keep upgrading. Now I have 40, then I have 80. Next is 160, but now I'm getting more cookies per click. And keep going, keep going, keep going, and now I get 5 by 5. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed this project, like this little Christmas project you can show to your family and friends. That's gonna be all for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. See you on the next one.